Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
It is the Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. I'm CJ Baumgartner. That's Corey Tackman. It continues to be wet and soupy and gross and all of this stuff all week long. But we have some softball to talk about. Also some Browerville alumni news. That's pretty exciting. But before we do all that, Corey, we got to thank the good folks at Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade for making the Morning Sports Desk possible.
You know, it's Wednesday, and when you need to find a dinner option with something for the whole family, make Wednesday a buffet day, because the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade has something for every single person. Stop by today. Get double points at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. Take advantage of everything that buffet has to offer you. In our family, I'm a pizza guy. We've got somebody in our family who's like, they love the breadsticks. We got someone who loves the dessert pizza, someone who loves the chicken, someone who loves the salad bar, and someone who loves everything. You want to guess which one I am? So the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade wants you to make it a buffet day today and double your points when you visit the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
All right, Corey. So we got to talk a little bit local sports headlines. First, we need to go over the fact that we have a broadcast schedule that is set for tomorrow, Thursday, May 22nd, although it feels like March 22nd out there. So interpret that how you will. But it is going to be a doubleheader of softball on our Hubbard Radio-Wadena stations. So on the Superstation K106, that's 105.9 FM, streaming online at wadenaradio.com, and the Superstation K106 mobile app. It is Monaga versus East Grand Forks in Glendon at the Dilworth Glendon Felton JV softball field. Zeke Foreman, our guy, is going to be doing coverage of that game. It's got a 1:45 pregame and a 2 o'clock first pitch, and win or lose, we will cover the second game Monaga will play in DGF. And that is a 4 o'clock scheduled first pitch, but, you know, it's basically going to kind of roll one right into the other pretty quickly. So Zeke will have coverage of that on the Superstation K106. So Braves fans, there is your fill of softball coverage for that team as they try and beat East Grand Forks and then get a matchup with the 2-seeded Dilworth Glendon Felton Rebels if they can get a win there. So we'll have more to talk about that on tomorrow's show, so be on the lookout for that when we do the full game preview. And by the way, on KWAD 101.7 FM and AM 920, also online at wadenaradio.com/KWAD, it's Wadena Deer Creek versus Roseau in Holly, as Holly will be the host site in their set of games. That is a 1:45 pregame, 2 o'clock first pitch on KWAD. And then if Wadena Deer Creek, again, win or lose, we will have coverage of their second game. If Wadena Deer Creek wins, it's likely a matchup against the Holly Nuggets. And again, we'll talk more about that stuff in tomorrow's show, but just wanting to give you guys the heads up. That's what's looking like what's going to be on the broadcast schedule here coming up tomorrow. And then, of course, there will be Section 6A softball games coming up on Friday, as well. And then we roll like right back into Monday, Tuesday, and then there's games popping off. Corey, we are in it.
Yeah, and thank goodness. I mean, you know, it was so hot, and then we went right into like cold and rain and like late October weather here. Tomorrow is eyeing up to be
football games out there.
Yeah, but tomorrow's eyeing up to be an absolutely perfect day to play some softball. I mean, mid to high 60s. Winds are going to be light. The sun is going to be out. It's going to feel magnificent. It's going to be perfect day to get a bunch of games in, and they need to. They need a perfect day to get a bunch of games in.
Corey, I haven't seen the sun since last Thursday. What's happening?
Welcome to the Pacific Northwest.
I mean, Midwest. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. It's hard to get him, it's easy to get him confused at this point. All right. Let's take a look here at the other local sports headlines here today. And that's, in fact, a pretty cool story out of St. John's. And St. John's in Minnesota, they have named their next head baseball coach, and it is Scott Leisher, who has been named the head baseball coach at St. John's. And some of you in the Browerville Eagle Valley community will go, wait a minute, I've heard that guy's name before. He sounds pretty familiar. It's because he's a Browerville alum, and he's been named the next head coach. He's replacing Leeser. Scott Leeser is replacing Jerry Haugen, who retired following 48 seasons with the St. John's program. Leeser had been an assistant on the staff in the program for the last 7 years, and now he's getting his shot to run things.
Yeah, that's amazing. And he only had to wait 48 years to take his turn. I love the college baseball coach thing. There's just no one who's around longer than college baseball coaches. That's it. They're just around for a half a century, and that's it. So congratulations to Coach Leeser. The job is yours until 2065.
Yeah, that sounds about right. He says in a statement, quote, leading the Johnny baseball program is a dream come true, and I am humbled and thrilled to have the opportunity to shape the future of this program. It has been such a privilege to coach alongside Jerry Haugen and his staff in the past 7 seasons. I'm looking forward to honoring the rich history and traditions he has put in place. St. John's is a special place with outstanding student athletes, and I am eager to get started. If you remember, Leeser was a standout right-handed pitcher for St. Cloud State from 2010 to 2013. He had a school record 32 victories on the mound, going 32-7 in 66 appearances, over 269 and 2/3 innings pitched, where he racked up 226 strikeouts and a 3.10 ERA. And he, of course, was a part of some Husky teams that had reached the NCAA Division II Central Regional each of his 4 years he was there, including a regional all-tournament team honor that he had as a sophomore, junior, and senior. He did play a little professional ball in the Milwaukee Brewers organization for a few years, and then reached the high A level as a reliever. And, of course, he played some Northwoods League ball in Waterloo and Wilmer. So this is a guy who's been around, has had some coaching experience at Augsburg, and then some other places here and there, but has ultimately kind of settled as that next job. So Browerville Tiger faithful, stand up. Your own Scott Leeser is now the next head coach of St. John's baseball. Do you got to go Johnny's in there?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. Good for him, though.
Are you kidding me? That's incredible.
Yeah.
Second grade YMCA basketball. That's the extent of my coaching career.
Look, as one summer rec coach to another here. So, no, it's really cool. Congratulations to him.
That's awesome.
Now we can fully expect the Browerville Eagle Valley to St. John's pipeline to begin any day now.
Yeah, no, your Johnny ring's super cool.
What would you, if you had to pick one, Corey, a Johnny ring or a Cobber ring, and you had to wear it around the rest of your life, which one would you pick?
A Cobber, because my wife is a Cobber, and I just I'm matrimonially obligated.
That's
neither. Are you kidding me?
Just figured I'd ask I'm just asking questions here.
Neither. I didn't go to school there.
Corey would choose getting his fingers cut off than wear the rings.
Take the finger, keep the ring.
All right.
A tattoo or something. That's way cooler.
Yeah, sure. Getting onto the sports. Speaking of how, like
wear a Winona State ring, a school I didn't even graduate from.
I had a chance to buy a class ring at Bertha Hewitt. I thought, maybe, and then just kind of forgot the deadline when you're supposed to pay the money. And then I was like, whatever.
I had a Sibley East class ring. I have no idea where it is. Gone forever.
Well, and that's the point. Like, you think, like, sometimes it's so important in that moment. And look, as a keepsake, like, I'm not saying they're unimportant, but if it's just going to sit in a box forever.
Yeah, no, I'd probably still be wearing it. Honest to goodness, I'd probably still be wearing it, because why not? That being said, I didn't go to St. John's.
Sure.
And I didn't go to Concordia. You can keep your rings. They're very cute. I'm glad you're all friends with each other.
I was doing a basketball game a couple years ago at Memorial Auditorium in Concordia. And like, you're there getting, like, Corey, there's that big row of tables set up on the far side of the scorer's table. And, it's a really nice media setup. There's plenty of room, lots of outlets, really appreciative of what they do there. And then there was one of the play-by-play guys for a different radio station. I don't know who. It doesn't really matter. And he had to make a point to, I don't know if it was the AD. I don't know if it was the media relations people at Concordia. But he had to make a big point to show them that he was there wearing his ring. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy.
Cool, man.
If I ever had to call a game at Bemidji State, I'd love it, and I would remind everybody of it. And in fact, I did a couple of years ago when I had to call Wadena, Deer Creek, and Bemidji. In Bemidji, it was really cool. But I wasn't sitting up there to anybody that would listen and be like, I went to school here. Like, cool, man. I don't know you. Like that.
I'm proud of you.
That's what the networking's for. I value it less than I should. I'll openly admit, but
see, I'm cynical about it because I quit college and then I went to a 7-week radio program. So what am I going to do?
Do you have a ring for that program?
No, but I would wear it. So I don't know. Maybe it's jealousy. Maybe it's not having the mental fortitude to just kind of stick that stuff out. I don't know what it is. I just like to make fun of it.
It's a lot easier.
If I had one, I would make fun of me also. I don't have one, which makes it more fun to make fun of you.
I'd be way more over the top about it. Like, can we bump rings? Is that cool?
Yeah. What is this, Captain Planet?
No, it's like the Wonder Twins.
Captain Planet, he's a hero. Bring him back down to. All right, next.
We need to find Captain Planet because it has been raining for 5 days straight. The Minnesota Twins can't play a game, Corey. The Twins have already had like 5 rainouts this season.
Yeah, I know. It feels like a lot, even like more than normal. Weirdly, it feels like they don't get rained out a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
In the decade plus that Target Field's been open. This year, it's been a lot.
Well, and it's not just been Target Field either. A couple of weeks ago, the Twins had games get rained out in Cleveland. The Twins had, of course, the doubleheader they had to play in Baltimore because it got rained out. The Twins, of course, were gone for a week. And during that week, it was 90 degrees the entire time. Yeah. And then when they were on the road during that time, it was raining in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. So it's just been a mess. So to recap, the Twins are going to, as of this recording, the Twins are getting ready to finish the resumed game in the top of the third where they're leading 2-1 against the Gardos. And once that game is over, they're going to take a half hour, and then they're going to play another one. And Cleveland's got to get out of there because they have to go play Detroit this weekend in a 4-game series. I'm sure they're just thrilled that they're playing this much baseball in this little time. And the game, as we talked about, game 2 of the series will be postponed to the middle of September. I believe September 20th. It's a Saturday. They're going to do a doubleheader then. Game 3 of the series will actually be game 2. That'll be played after the conclusion of game 1 today. And we just got robbed of the triple header that potentially could have taken place where both teams starting pitchers would have quit in protest and we'd have had position players pitching at the end of the game. Cowards.
Live a little.
Come on.
We're going to see softball games on tomorrow and or Friday that potentially will be triple headers.
Make it work. Come on. What are we doing here?
Cowards, you get paid all that money. You can't figure out a way to play 3 games.
Make it work.
Can't figure out how to get 12 at-bats in today? Come on. Live a little.
All right. So looking at that, I don't know if the Twins are ever going to play a game. That's just, we'll find out.
It's happening today. They'll play.
Here's the thing, too. If you're the Twins, you had the 13-game winning streak, and then you had it snapped. And, that's annoying. But also, you're still playing good baseball. And now, essentially, I know they played a little bit on Monday. But you essentially had, you've had just so much downtime now. Because even during that game, there were so many rain delays. You know what I mean? You feel like you're playing your best baseball, and now you're taking completely out of rhythm.
Yeah, it kind of stinks a little bit. But what are you going to do?
Play ball.
The streak, right?
Mm-hmm. Time to start another one. And do it against the Gardos, please. The weather does look much better for this weekend when the Royals come to town. So that's a step in the right direction. So there we go. All right, let's talk about the Western Conference Finals, Corey. Game 1, first quarter, Wolves played well. Second quarter, not great, but still hanging on to a 4-point lead. And the third quarter, the Thunder had a 17-0 run. and it was just things spiraled out of control. And I think just overall, I think we can just all end with the fact that game one just was a mess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be the guy who just oversimplifies things, right? Like, I don't want to be the guy who doesn't know anything about hockey, and every time your team has a power play, you just yell, shoot, 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 shoot. I don't want to be that guy, because hockey guys know that guy's annoying. So I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy who just oversimplifies things. But you just got to make a few more shots. And by a few more shots, arguably any. Just like make a shot. Holy buckets. This is the third game in this playoffs, at least, where the Timberwolves have been bad to awful at shooting the basketball. And that is pretty monumental part of the game. And I say 3 because their 3 losses in the playoffs, they've shot very, very poorly. They haven't, outside of game 1 against the Lakers, where they didn't miss, they have been average shooters throughout this entire playoffs now through 11 games, and 3 of those 11 have been dog duty bad.
Mm-hmm. Now they've been able to win a couple of those. They've been able to come out. This gave a lot of game 1 against Golden State vibes a little, where it's like everything just felt off. It felt like it's good that they got the rest, but they just felt really out of rhythm. And overall, I think 2 things can be true at once in this game. And I'm just going to say it so we can move on from this point. 2 things can be true at once. 1, Shea's whistle is incredibly annoying. He initiates contact all the time, flails, gets contact. Doris Burke mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast he's a free throw merchant, and then went on the entire game to praise how he was able to get to the free throw line. All of that can happen and is annoying. And there were times where Anthony Edwards would get grabbed on the arms going through the lane, or Julius Randle got yanked down by Caruso, but it doesn't get called. All of that can be really annoying and make for a bad watch. But the Timberwolves lost 100% on themselves because, like you said, they couldn't make a shot. Like in our text thread, it was like at the end of quarter 3, I just text quarter 3 report, : make a shot, a shot. Like so many wide open looks that this team has not been able to handle. And on top of that, they turned the ball over a lot. Anthony Edwards didn't really get going, not really facilitating either. There's just the Wolves had, Corey, 0 fast break points. Like it just felt out of sorts. Rudy Gobert played 0 minutes in the fourth quarter. It just is a team that they played okay in the first half, but I think as we've learned over the course of the series with Denver, Oklahoma City, they play really good defense, like historically great defense, and their ability to wear down an opponent over the course of the game cannot be understated. So like, just, I don't know. This whole thing is to say is that game 1 was bad. And even though like aesthetically it looked bad and Wolves fans are going to be complaining about Shea's whistle, and the number one storyline, you look at Bill Simmons, you look at Nick Wright, you look at ESPN, you look at all of these people, they are all talking about Shea's whistle, and that's its own conversation. But the Wolves lost this game due to their own, for lack of a better term, ineptness more than anything.
So I don't know who the best on-ball defender in the league is. I don't know who that is. Maybe it's one of these guys on Oklahoma City. It might not be. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is that they have on the floor at all times at least 3, sometimes 4 guys who are elite on-ball defenders. And when you defend that way and then blitz whoever is the ball handler, because they're so quick, they can recover so well, because Chet's a good rim protector, like they are allowed to take chances defensively, what they do. I thought the Timberwolves were stagnant. I thought they allowed rather than just, you don't need to be fast, CJ, right? You need to be assertive. It's corny, but the old John Wooden quote is be quick, but don't hurry, right? Like a little of that. You just need you to be assertive. You don't need to run with OKC. You don't need to go ballistic, but you need to you can't wait for things to settle, because Oklahoma City never allows it to settle. Like Anthony Edwards bringing the ball up the floor, for example, and Julius Randle's trailing behind him. Ant waits a step across half court, which is a cardinal sin. Never stop there. Don't stop just across half court. But he's met right at half court by whoever's guarding him, right? Julius is trailing Whoever is guarding Julius is right there at half court too. So now Ant just traps himself because they're relentless, and it ends up being a turnover and whatever. So a little more assertiveness on offense is what I'm looking for. I have 2 questions for you that I'm interested in your answer in, and I'll give you my answer also. But it's only game 1. It's a 7-game series. We're not that sort of people where like it's over. We're not saying that the Timberwolves are going to win this series, but it's not over, right?
Really, the team that wins game 1 wins the series 100% of the time. I don't know what you're talking about.
But let's do it's dire and it's not going to work out for the Timberwolves. Why? Like, what's the reason after watching game 1 why this series could be over?
Really, it's going to be because they just don't have the outside shooting. And that's something that the Wolves tried to address in the offseason, because that's something that also impacted them in the end of last year's playoffs as well. They just didn't quite have the 3-point shooting. Now, Anthony Edwards got better from beyond the 3-point line. Randall had a really good start from beyond the 3-point line yesterday, but that's not really what they meant when they wanted to get better beyond the arc. This is a team that traded for Dante DiVincenzo. This is a team that tried to find a way to make that bench's a scoring ability deeper, and getting him was kind of a big part of that. But you've had Dante DiVincenzo, who's been the worst 3-point shooter in these playoffs. Like, statistically, he's shooting like 20% from 3-point range. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has not had a great 3-point shooting playoffs either. Neither is Naz Reid, really, outside of, as we've talked about, that first game against the Lakers. If the Wolves, turnovers are going to be a thing, that's there. I think the Wolves play good enough defense. Really, they played fine defense, I thought. Things spiraled away, but I thought overall their defense was fine. So overall, I think if they lose this series, it's going to just be because they just don't have the horses that can keep up with the 3-point game, because the Wolves were abdicating the paint. They were not trying to drive in on Oklahoma City all the time. Like, that just wasn't there. And Oklahoma City was letting them shoot all of these shots, and they couldn't cash in. They were daring the Wolves to splash on them all game long, and they came up dry. So I think, really, long story short, if the Wolves aren't going to consistently make 3-pointers, this is going to be a quick series.
All right, so then the opposite question is obvious. What, if anything, from game 1 did you see that's like, you know what, the Timberwolves actually have a shot here, and not a lot of things need to go differently? Like, what is it for the Wolves that you saw? They're like, okay, you know what, this is not going to be a sweep.
I think the fact that you got the looks that you wanted is telling you that, like, they just have to go in. So the process is right, or at least the process is still worth pursuing. I don't think this is the time to panic and completely shuffle everything and do whatever. I think the fact that you got the looks is encouraging. And I think as well, just when you look at this team, like, they've had a stinker before. Obviously, the Wolves in game 2 in LA lost that one. The Wolves in game 1 against the Warriors had a stinker to start out. Like, this team has shown that, like, they've played bad and they come pretty motivated to come back. And Chris Finch also said, we didn't come here to win them both. He's like, we came here to win one, or something along the lines of a quote of, like, we know that, like, sweeping these first 2 games was going to be tough anyways. We just need to get out of here we need to steal a game on the road, and that's the mission. And as long as they can win game 2 and go back to Target Center 1-1, it's still not the end of the world. So yeah, kind of the inverse side is the process, I think, is still good, or at least it's not like the process is bad. This is just a team that needs the buckets to go in, and maybe Anthony Edwards not to roll his ankle in the middle of game 2 or game 1.
So if I can answer those questions here just very quickly, just another little wrinkle. The reason why it won't work out for the Timberwolves is because Oklahoma City is the best team in basketball, and they've been all season long.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why they're the 1 seed in the West and the Timberwolves are a 6 seed. And if that's the case, then so be it. Here's the reason why it can work out. I'll take a little different route because I agree with everything that you said. I am not interested, by the way, in excuse making, but I know that, like, what you mentioned, that exists, right? Like, it's one of the things that just exists in all the possibilities. I think this is a little more holistic, but it's out there in the ether. One of the things that I believe is that Oklahoma City is on the emotional high of absolutely crushing Denver in a game 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be willing to bet all the money in your pocket that they thought by beating Denver, that guarantees them the championship. I just think like at least that's what their fan base would probably
especially after the way game 1 turned out.
And they're like, that's fine. They're justified in that. But I think riding that emotional high and having just played basketball 2 nights previous, you're just in the groove of playing basketball and you're riding you're riding the wave of playing really good basketball. And the Timberwolves had almost a full week off. And when you have to take a full week off, there just is moments where you have to work out the kinks. Even though they started out hot, you still have to work out the kinks, and now they're having to work out the kinks against a team who is markedly better than the 2 teams you just beat in the playoffs to get to this position. Again, those aren't excuses, but I do think that is a part of the reality of everything in this series. Oklahoma City is riding an emotional high. That's exhausting, by the way. Game 2 is going to be much more just like business-like for both teams, but they're also just they're in the midst of playing games, and the Timberwolves need to get back into the groove of playing games. You need to shoot better. I mean, you're professional shooters and are open. You got to shoot better than that. And that's, I think, is ridiculous, but that is a part of it. That is a real thing that I believe exists after game 1. And I think that bodes well for the Timberwolves going forward.
Yep. We will talk more about what's going to happen in game 2 on tomorrow's show. It's got a 7:30 tip-off on Thursday evening. ESPN is the home for the Western Conference Finals. It's going to do it for me. I'm CJ Baumgartner, Corey Tackman over there. Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. See you.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.